picture halfway through the season evaluation of the offense so far?
Big picture is, just been inconsistent too much. Especially with yesterday's or the other day's performance, just feel like we're just too inconsistent, and that's just probably the biggest thing. And so, perfect time to have a bye week for us, to kind of recalibrate, regroup, get some guys back, all that sort of thing. And so I just think it's coming at a good time for us to really hone in on those things and just kind of tighten it up is kind of our big focus going into the bye week.
Given your experience, how do you improve on consistency?
You just stay the course, and you just got to stay the course, and you got to keep approaching it the same way with your guys as coaches. You got to keep demanding it and kind of persevere through some of those things. And so you got a younger group, and I think that's what's going to build consistency. That's what's going to build confidence ultimately with your team and your guys. And that's I think the best approach.
Walker Parks was obviously a major loss. When you're trying to sort things out up front and dealing with inexperience there, how much does that is that the root of some of the inconsistency that you're talking about?
Yeah, that's some of it. I mean, it always starts up front, and so as we continue to try and find the best chemistry and the continuity up front, that's always going to be the case. Is always going to start there. So, yeah, that's part of the equation for sure. Is continue to develop those guys up front for sure.
You talked about this being a young group. I mean, how much do you attribute some of those little things they're not doing quite right, being consistent to that, or is it just?
Yeah, I mean it's some of that. It's kind of the other day our whole story the other day. It just felt like we were playing with 10. It was a guy here or there, and it wasn't the same guy all the time. It was just we played with 10 too many times. In the Wake Forest game. And so, how do you alleviate that? How do you fix that? Again, I think it's stay the course. I think it's take a consistent approach as coaches and the way you practice and the way you rep guys and all sort of those things we got to, continue to improve on as coaches too. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
How frustrating for some like exchange issues and stuff like that, those turnovers. How do you clean those things up?
Yeah, I mean, very frustrating, because it's such a fraction of a second, with those sort of plays. But at the end of the day, worst case scenario, those have to be just a -1 or a no gain instead of a turnover, and now all of a sudden they're on the 5-yard line or whatever it was, which we've had a few of those. So obviously you got to keep addressing those and just kind of work through them.
Does that playing feel like a playing with 10? Does that maybe have some inexperience in key spots?
I wouldn't completely blame that on inexperience. I just think some of it's technique, some of it's this or that. But stuff like that, Game 6, that's what I tried to challenge our guys with, after that series in the game the other day. It's just that stuff can't happen. We're better than that. We've got, X amount of games under our belt already, so those things can't happen.
What are you most encouraged by from this group and the progress they have made in some of those areas over the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, I feel like, listen, we didn't play our best game for sure offensively the other day, but I think the way we've adjusted, at halftime and some things we've done throughout the course of the season going into second halves, I think we've made some good adjustments, and our guys have adapted to that in game, which has been positive for kind of a first year into this thing, offensively speaking. So, pleased with that, with our adaptability, and then just being able to, I think probably still just being able to find different ways to try and win, that's what you're proud of thus far. But we still got a long ways to go, and we got a lot of potential we need to keep tapping into.
Great, the offensive line through 6 games.
Kind of us as a whole offensively, just too inconsistent. That would be kind of my main grade. Is I feel like we've been really good at times and have some really nice stretches where we've kind of dominated, and then we have some stretches where we don't. And so just too many lapses as a whole offensively, and certainly some of that's up front.
Is that just like extra. I just imagine like seeing it and being like that's what we're doing. You've done it, and then seeing that inconsistency. How are you handling that? What's Garrett Riley like as he navigates some of that's inconsistency?
Well, I mean, you're just, as a coach, you're just always looking, all right, what can we do better for them, right? I mean, that's how we're programmed. That's how I'm wired. That's how us coaches are wired. And so you're just always trying to evaluate what can we do to minimize that for our guys. And, again, good time to have a bye week for us to really, kind of hone in and address some of those things where we can go back and refocus on some of that.
Y'all's red zone touchdown percentage is 58%. What's like the bare minimum by your standards, like that's acceptable?
Yeah, I mean, our goal is always 2 out of 3 times you need to score touchdowns. So basically 67% you need to be scoring touchdowns. So that's our goal every week, and certainly, haven't been there. We've been trying to play catch up really from the Duke game, from a statistical standpoint in that area. But it's something we continue to try and improve on.
How would you assess Kay's learning curve thus far? He was talking about progression. He felt like at FAU started to, let loose a little bit. Florida State started hanging in the pocket more. Syracuse started using his legs. And
Mm-hmm.
you've seen him kind of pick up a phase each week. And how does he compare to other quarterbacks?
Yeah, he certainly has. I thought he got better very quickly, in the first month of our season. Has he been perfect? No. But the kid's a competitor. He's made strides with just what you said in those 2 games. Thought he made some strides in a couple areas in this last game, but probably, did some things that he definitely would want back, in the Wake Forest game. But it's a position that, man, you learn so much from each and every game and those experiences. And, it's something that he'll continue to learn from at a fast rate, I anticipate.
How quickly do you learn what he's comfortable with? Like, how much are you learning? Like, I can call this or that. He's going to have a pretty good grasp.
Yeah, I mean, every single day we practice. I mean, every single game, you're just accumulating more and more of those, sample sizes for us as coaches and for me to see, all right, what's this guy good at? What can he handle? What's going to maybe put him in a good position? What's for sure going to put him in a good position? So just like I said, kind of reevaluating, what we do and the positions that we put him in. So, yeah, I mean, every single game you're able to add to that sample size of what he can and cannot do or what's best for him.
Jake was the target probably a few more times Saturday, but a lot of things to him have kind of been around the line of scrimmage or coming around. How do you kind of get him freed up? Is there a way to scheme it to get him more involved down the field, or is because of the offensive inconsistency has that been an issue?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to throw him down the field more. There's no doubt. And there's been some things that have been there, just that we maybe didn't throw it on that play, right? So I mean, there's some of that's kind of gone on specifically with him. But yeah, I mean, he's a weapon with his length and those sort of skill set that he does have and the measurables that he has. But yeah, we got to create some more opportunities for him and really for other guys down the field too.
Speaking with the tight ends, how are they being utilized in your opinion, and is there more there across the board, and are they producing in those ways, right? You always kind of talk about tight ends kind of have to earn it from the blocking standpoint to be able to get that next step and be a target consistently. Is that an area that you've highlighted or is somewhere that you need to see a little bit more production from, or how is that grading out at this point?
Yeah, I think
Or is this the plan?
no, I think listen, Jake's really improved with some of the blocking that we ask him to do, and I think he's definitely made strides there. I think just naturally with our attack and passing scheme, there's going to be opportunities there. Like I said, we've had some plays where we just didn't throw it or threw it to somebody else, and some design things for him. But with those tight ends, we just got to continue to mix it up, and from a play action standpoint of utilizing them. But they also got to play big too. And so when they do have their opportunities or the opportunities that they've had thus far, they got to be a weapon. Not only just catching the ball, but doing something with the ball in their hands. And so that's something I joke about with them, but they know I'm dead serious. Is hey, job number one for a tight end is just be big, play big, and be big. And that's what we just got to do there.
Guard, tackle, counters and pulls and such are such a staple of your offense. How would you evaluate how that's gone in terms of the productivity so far, and also the way defenses have sort of adjusted to it and reacted to it?
Yeah, that's the cat and mouse of this game, right? And so, like I said, we kind of made some adjustments the other day that I feel like helped us, and you started to see a lot more production in the second half running the football. So, that's the beauty of just doing what you do. You kind of know the answers to it, and you know what to adapt to, and not just you as coaches. It's great if we know it, but what can our players handle? What can they adapt to? And so I think that's what we saw the other day. It's kind of a tale of two halves for us offensively speaking. But yeah, I mean it's definitely one of our main schemes, and we got a lot of belief in it. But you always got to have a little variety in the run game too.
Someone mentioned to me that this offense doesn't look like what you had at TCU last year. And I would say maybe more stuff would be unlocked if they could get things consistent. But how would you respond to that? That, the motions aren't the same, tempo may not be the same, that it just looks different.
I mean, every offense is different. We got different players. You got different players, and you got a younger quarterback, and just all of those things, right? I mean, but we're attacking a lot of the same ways. I mean, not a lot of difference there. I would say, just kind of who we have and who we are right now, and just trying to work through it. And kind of the last few games, it's getting off to a faster start. I think would allow us to probably unhook the plow almost a little bit sooner, right? We took some negative plays in the Syracuse game, and we did a much better job of that in the Wake Forest game of not taking as many negative plays. But we just had too many, like I said, just playing with 10 too much the other day. But I guess my response to that just would be, no, it's the same. But you just got to adapt to kind of the personnel that you got.
In unhooking the plow, Tyler had made some strides before Saturday. You're probably going to get Antonio back. Stellato is starting to prove that he can make some plays. Bo does what he does. How do you further now kind of, hey, let's get this thing going with the pieces that you're going to have back?
Yeah, it'll be the fun part, just kind of over the bye week of figuring out that part of the equation of who gives us the best chance to move the football and score ultimately. And so, yeah, I think we'll be able to kind of shuffle some guys and kind of find the best lineup and the best package of what's going to give us the best opportunity to move the football and score.
Any questions for Coach from Zoom?
Hey Garrett, this is John with the state. Not a ton of snaps for Adam Randall. He's left last week, so I guess what's kind of the key in your mind for him getting back up into the rotation a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean he needs to. Should have got him in more than what we did the other day. Again, just kind of a little unrhythmic offensively, just as far as our flow of the game. But he's certainly a guy that needs to play more and get opportunity to play more. So, it's going to be a big week for all of us, but certainly for him to continue to improve and just be ready. Be ready for Miami. So looking forward to that. This week. With all of our guys, but definitely with Adam.
I want to ask you about the bye week. What's the best way in your mind for these guys to use this week and to maximize this little bit of time, other than getting their bodies right?
Yeah, I think bye weeks are always great because you can go back to the fundamentals, and just kind of the baseline of what we do. You're always going to revert back to that, and I think it's just a nice reset physically and mentally for you as a coach and as players too. To hey, we can identify what we're pretty good at. We can identify what some of our mishaps are, thus far, and go from there, And so I just think it's a good point in time for us, with all things considered, to have this. But yeah, that should be the focus. We should come out fresh mentally. We should come out ready to go and be excited to play, on the road in Miami, coming away out of this bye week. But to me, that's where you got to maximize your time with your players that way.
How did Harris Sewell grade out Saturday?
Yeah, Harris did a good job. I mean, he, definitely some plays that he's got to improve on, some things we got to see, but plugging him in where he played that many snaps, he gave us some production. So, I mean, he's a fearless guy. He's a fearless player, and he's only going to continue to get better, kind of like Cade. I mean, just at a quick rate, the more and more reps he gets.
Talk about the cat and mouse game, and I like watching what you try to scheme up. See a little student body right there Saturday. Could see maybe a little bit more of that.
Yeah. I mean, just some, like I said, just some variety, right? And things that we feel like our guys can handle, and what's going to be some tendency breakers and things of that nature. So, yeah, I mean, that'll kind of be the other part of the bye week is, all right, hey, is there some stuff worth exploring, from, some freshness, I guess, so to speak, right, offensively and defensively. So that'll be fun for us this week.
Anyone else for Coach?
I guess my last one would be, is the inconsistencies that you're talking about, is this coming from a lack of ability or development or growth because they're young, or it's like physically, or is it more mental, or is it just a culmination of all of it?
Yeah, I mean, I wish you could just pinpoint one thing, right? That'd make it easier to fix. But football's it could be a complicated game that way of just different factors going into it. But listen, we've done a lot of good things, in the last several weeks as we have improved. We just got to continue to stay the course and put it all together, and I think that's what our group will come out hungry with out of this bye week.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.